Hello there, Be More, just a bunch of nerds, and we're here to teach you how to play a game. And the game we picked today, Thanos Rising, the fate of the universe is in your hands. This is tied into the Marvel Avengers Infinity War, and it is licensed. It came out just before the movie. There are some spoilers, I suppose, but I will keep them minimal in here. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up the box and see what's inside. Kind of go over the components and the setup of the game. You got your rule book, decent rule book, pretty clear on what's going on. You've got the two parts that make up the board. One is the Infinity Gauntlet, and one is just the Galaxy. We've got a bag of tokens, some bonus tiles. We've got these little discs that hold that represent the Infinity Stones. We've got a painted model of Thanos. Now it's going to look a little different from the one in the box. We've done a little touch-ups on it, and Haggis Paints is going to go over this well. Really get the accents in there, but I just wanted to see what it would look like, and he wanted to see how the paint would stick to the material. So it is slightly touched up. And then we've got a deck of cards. We have little team markers here. One of the coolest things I think in this game is we do have the 6 Infinity Stones. I don't remember the names of all of them. I think this is... Yeah, I don't. I know this is time, and there's reality, and there's power, and there's space, and there is the one that don't want to spoil it. But yeah, you people probably know better than I do. I'm forgetful with them. Haggis would probably know better. We've got a whole bunch of dice in different colors here, and then 2 larger Thanos dice. And finally, we have the team cards. So the teams you get to pick, and every player would take one. Avengers, which they come with a team leader of Captain America. Gamora leads the Nowhere team. Doctor Strange leads Sanctum Sanctorum. And Wakanda Nation is led by Black Panther. So, when setting up the game, first thing you would do is you would put out the board here, and there are 3 sections of the galaxy, and just plop Thanos in there facing one of them. Then the second setup component would be take the Infinity Gauntlet. Now let's make sure it's in here. And it doesn't matter where they go, but you will put the stones here. Well, the markers for them, and then the actual stones will go on to each of these spots. Then you'll gather up your dice pool. So everyone will then pick the faction they want to be. So for this little teaching thing, I'm going to pick, let's go with the Avengers and Wakanda. So they will go out here. And then we will go through the deck. And I'm going to pick the leaders that they each start with. So let's see here. So I'm just going to get all 4 of them out. Gamora, Captain America, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther. So what I like about this game, right off the bat, and we'll go over the different components, or the different sections of the cards, is if you're not playing, so in this case we're not playing with Nowhere and Sanctum Sanctorum. So these 2 heroes actually go into the deck as people you can recruit onto your team. So all 4 of them will be available. And in the deck, there are 2 types of cards. There are heroes, like we've got Bucky Barnes here. And then there are 10 villains. So here's a general outrider. Most of them are just general outriders. And these cards will be distributed around Thanos. So, I'm going to make a little more room here. I'll push this up to the side a little bit because we want to be able to see everything going on here. So, both will have their leader, just kind of, you know, however you want to lay them out. And then they will each have their marker. And the final thing to set up the game will be to randomly place 3 cards in each section here. Now, I'm just going to leave out certain cards that could be seen as spoilers. So, shuffle them up and deal them out randomly. So, we got Doctor Strange, Hawkeye, and Friday. We've got Rocket, we've got Groot, and we've got Cull Obsidian, who's one of the bad guys. And then we've got Wong, the Guardian's ship, and a little more room here, and Black Widow. So the game is now ready to play. So how do we play the game? On the back of each of your team cards, there is a turn order summary, and so we're just going to go over it step by step here. So step 1, place team deployment token in a sector. So what you're going to do is, let's just say the Avengers are going to go first. You take your token and you place it in one of these 3 sectors. And what that determines is what heroes you could potentially recruit, what bad guys you could potentially fight, and also when Thanos attacks, where your guys are located to see if they take damage. So, in thinking that, we're going to go over the conditions of the game. So there's one way you can win the game. You defeat 7 of the 10 enemies or villains that are in the deck. So right now there's only 1 on the board. You could have, essentially you could have all 9 spots in a really bad shuffle fill up with bad guys, or you could have none that are out there. So that is the one way you can win. The ways you can lose. 1, if all the heroes that are on one team, so right now there's just Black Panther, but let's say Black Panther dies and they didn't recruit anyone else to their team, game over. One faction's been eliminated, Thanos wins. The second way is, throughout the game, there's going to be, just like villains will be dying, heroes will be dying as well. If 10 heroes die, doesn't matter if they're from your faction or from the board, 10 dead heroes, game over, Thanos wins. The third way Thanos can win is if he collects all the Infinity Stones. So he's got the gauntlet here. As he collects them, you can just place them on there and you'll flip the tile over to show that he now has this specific one. If he manages to get all 6 of them, then the game is over. Starting with the turn order. So first thing, we'll place where we're going to commit. So we're going to commit to this section here. Why? I think we're going to go after Hawkeye. So when we go on the card here, it's going to show a few things. This here shows the starting dice that you get whenever you're doing your turn. So Avengers start with 4 red. Wakanda starts with 3 red and a blue. The other ones start with, what do we got here? 3 red and a green, and 3 red and a black. So they're pretty similar. There are only the 4 colors of dice in the game. And the red dice, all the dice are good. There's nothing negative on the hero dice. But pretty much all the red ones will have this symbol on both 2 sides. They'll have a double version of that symbol. And then the text symbol, which is what would appear on the blue dice. This is what's on the green symbol, or on the green die. And this is the one that will appear primarily on the black die. So every other one, this will have two of the web symbol and a double, and then one of the explosion and one of the planet. So the reason you'd go, say, after this one here is you're trying to recruit. So we look at Hawkeye here. Hawkeye, so we're going over what's on here. This says it's a hero, what faction he's part of. Doesn't matter, you can recruit anyone from any faction, but there are bonuses for having, like for example, if you read the ability on here, if you have another red hero on your team, roll an extra blue or red die on each turn. So going after Hawkeye would be a good thing because it will start giving you more dice to roll, which increases your chances of doing good on your turn. On the side of each of these, there will be little squares, and that represents the damage they can take. If they take max damage, in his case it's 4, Captain America and Black Panther have 6, then they die if they're not healed by the end of the turn. The name, this is how you recruit them. So this one here, you need to spend a total of 3 power dice, or if you rolled the double symbol, you need to get 3 symbols, and then you're able to recruit them to your team. And the final thing is an ability. So if you do have them on your team, once per turn, you may re-roll any dice before assigning dice. So we're committing to that area because we are rolling 4 red dice, so there's a good chance we're going to be able to get 3. And then by having that, we will have extra dice for our future turns. So the next thing we do is we take the Infinity dice and the Thanos dice. The Infinity dice is pretty straightforward. 6 sides, 6 colored stones, and what will happen is whatever side you roll, so let's just say we rolled here, we rolled green, you'll take one of these yellow cubes and you'll place it on on the green stone. There's room for 5 of them on here, and if he manages to get 5 of those cubes on that, he has then collected the stone, and then this will flip over, and we'll get into that in a bit. So this turn here, they've taken that. Then you roll the Thanos dice. The Thanos dice has 6 sides again. 2 of them say L and then just going counterclockwise. 2 of them have an R and arrows going clockwise. This one here is a picture of an Infinity Stone, I guess, and then a picture of the Infinity Gauntlet. So if you roll the R, you simply turn him right, 1 section. If you roll the L, you turn him left. If you roll the Infinity Stone, that means you get to roll that again. So you got, if we did that, we'd roll red, and we'd place 1 there. And the Thanos Gauntlet means all the bad guys in every sector will attack. So what happens is once that's happened here, so let's say we rolled this, and so we rolled it again, we got another one on red. So Thanos isn't going to move. So Thanos is going to damage every hero in that sector. So he's going to deal 1 damage to Doctor Strange, 1 to Hawkeye, and 1 to Friday. And he's also going to deal 1 damage to Captain America, because since he's here, Captain America and anyone recruited to that team is considered in that sector. Okay, so now we go on to Sec 3. So we roll the power dice. So as we earlier discussed, Captain America and the Avengers will roll 4 power dice here. We'll just get our little dice tray out. Should have had this out before. So they will roll all their dice. So we got a double power symbol, a power symbol, and 2 text symbols here. So, now that I've got these here, what I have to do is I have to assign dice. At the very minimum, you have to assign 1 die or forfeit 1 die. So no matter what, every roll that you have, you're going to be going down, and on dice you can re-roll. So now I have 2 options here. I have enough to get Hawkeye, which is 3 attack symbols, but I also have enough to get Friday, which is 2 of the text symbols. Now, I can assign as many dice as I want that fit. So in this case, Friday only takes 2 tech. Hawkeye takes 3 of the power. We call it the fist symbol sometimes because of Dice Masters. Thank you, Haggis. So I can make a decision here because I have to only choose 1 card that I can put them on. So I could take both of these, put him on Hawkeye, and then at the end of the turn I will recruit him. And I could also put both of these onto Friday, And at the end of the turn, Friday will be on my team as well. So, got to look at the different options here. So for one, Friday, once per turn, you may change the text symbol to any face. So dice manipulation. It's a powerful thing to have. Hawkeye, once per turn, you may re-roll any dice. So that would, if I had him, I could take these and re-roll all of them. To get 2 text symbols on 2 red dice is less likely. This would be easier to get. There's a chance that after I place these on here, I would be able to possibly roll this again and get Hawkeye. But Hawkeye being red will also give me another die next turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit both of these here. Now I'm going to roll again. So there is a slight chance that I would be able to get Friday. So I'll roll again. So now I have 1 tech and 1 power symbol. So I have to at least place 1 die. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 1 on Friday. Because you don't have to place the full thing. You can commit 1 there. And so it's still my turn. So I just take my remaining dice and roll them. I rolled that. It doesn't fit anywhere, so I have to forfeit 1 die. Come to my reroll again. There's nothing, so that would be the end. So now we go to step 4. Apply the results of the dice by recruiting heroes, adding damage to villains, drawing bonus tokens, and resolving hero abilities. So we've got no hero abilities right now. Got no damage tokens, but I do take Hawkeye onto my team. So when he joins my team, his damage cube comes off, and he is now here. So now I have 2 members. So next turn when I play, I would be rolling this with these guys. Final step, we would then discard any defeated heroes and villains, replace empty spaces with new cards from the asset deck, and collect tokens. So here, the Royal Talon Fighter comes out. This comes back, so we are kind of back to base. And now it would move on to Black Panther's turn. And so we're going to do one more round here, and then I'll kind of go over some more specialty items. So what we're going to do is we're going to also go to this sector, and we'll roll the 2 dice. And so we've got orange, so we'll place 1 cube on orange. And the red and yellow cubes are interchangeable. I find we usually run out of red cubes, and so we start using yellow ones for damage when we're playing a 3 or 4 person game. So you can put whatever up there. Then we got this, so we will roll again, and we will put 1, so we're just going to use a red one here on the purple. And once again, he will attack and deal damage to everybody. So another one to Doctor Strange, another one to Friday, and another one to the Royal Talon Fighter. And he will now take his turn, so he gets 3 red and a blue. So another reason to leave Friday open and take Hawkeye is Black Panther gets the same bonus, or similar bonus. If he takes a blue character, he gets a blue or green die each turn. And he's got a good chance of rolling tech symbols, so we'll roll them in here. We've got a tech, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 power. So we could go after the Royal Talon Fighter, which is a good card. There's a ship in each faction, and they all do the same thing. Once per turn, you may remove 1 damage from a hero, which can be a hero on the board or a hero on someone's team. So let's just say we're going to go after that. So we're going to place those there. Roll this. Okay, so we got Cosmic and Power. So forfeit 1 die. And roll once more. Power. So we forfeit another die. This turn ends, we get nothing. Oh, and I forgot to do this. Black Panther would have took 1 damage because he's in that sector. And so the game will continue taking your turns and doing that turn after turn. So let's look at some of the other things that come up in the game. One thing you can do, so let's say Black Widow happened to be on this team. Black Widow's got an ability, which is all abilities are one-time use, but this one here has a cost. So 2 power, draw a bonus token, and remove 1 damage from a hero. So let's go back, say that we'll just throw out Heimdall here. And so rolling, okay, so I got 2 tech, but you know what? I've got this 2 power here. So I'm going to do this. So I want a bonus token. So I can place this here and then take her bonus, or her ability here. And yes, I got 2 tech. I could have got Friday, which would be more strategic for the game, but this is a good segue into bonus tokens. And you'll have a whole bunch of these tokens face down. So I would get to remove a damage from a hero, so let's say we take it off Friday, and then we don't, we don't actually do that right away. We'll leave it there, just to show timing. And then get to roll again, because I could put this on there, but I have to choose. You're only allowed to place dice on 1 card per turn. So in this case here, I don't want to necessarily place it there. So I'm going to put it on Black Widow, just to show how that works. And we're going to roll the dice again. And we've got 2 of this symbol. And we could put that on Doctor Strange, but I don't see the benefit of it. I'm going to put 1, I drew 1 power on there, and we're going to roll again. Okay, got nothing, so I have to forfeit a die. There's still a chance. If there's not a chance that you can do anything, like let's say I only had red dice left, I wouldn't be able to get 2, then I wouldn't even roll again. But I do have a chance that I could roll 2 tech. I did not. Okay, so now this goes on to the next stage. So this dice clears away. This dice clears away. I will remove a damage, draw a bonus token, and so we'll go over the different types of bonus tokens here. Some of them just have instructions on them. You play it to remove 1 counter from an Infinity Stone. So you just pick the one you want to get rid of there. Sometimes they are one-time uses. So we've got a tech, or can't remember what that symbol's called, but the times one. Remove 2 damage from a hero. And we have some that you get to discard and roll an additional die for that turn. So this one will give you a green die to your dice pool. So every time you're able to do that with her, you would get to draw one of these tokens and add it to your pool. The last step of the turn is you can play your bonus tokens when you want, but section 4 is when player abilities come into effect. So I've got that there, and let's say we've got the Talon Fighter has a total of 4 damage on it, so it's going to die at the end of this turn. But when we activate this and draw our bonus token, we also heal 1 hero, which the Talon Fighter counts as. So it will not actually die, because in step 5 is when you discard any defeated heroes, discard any defeated villains. So now we're going to move on to the one thing we didn't really cover here is villains. So we're going to put this villain in here. So Call Obsidian. To damage him, you have to deal 2 power and 2 of the eye. And then that will deal 1 damage to him, and he takes 3 damage to destroy. And he's also got a special ability. If Thanos is in this sector, all players must add 1 damage to 2 heroes on their team. So, if Thanos rolls this die, and he stays in this sector, he would then trigger Call Obsidian. Or if he was here, and you rolled right, he would turn in here, and then each player would choose. So we'd put 1 here and 1 here, and the other player is going to borrow from here. Would put these die, or these cubes on here to show the damage that they're getting. And if you ever roll the glove of Thanos, where is it? So we've got Thanos' glove here, and let's say Thanos is over here. So you roll the glove, Thanos will deal the damage to these 3 characters. But then Call Obsidian and any villain that's not in his sector acts as if he's in there. So it's kind of like Thanos is present to lead his troops in every sector, even though he's only damaging the one in a certain area. And so the same thing happens when you roll your dice. You are only allowed to assign dice, each roll, to 1 card. So if let's say I had a green die, I roll this. Okay, well, I'll assign these 2 power dice here. And I'll roll again. Oh, don't have anything, so I'll discard this. Oh, I got the 2, so I have enough. And when it comes to clearing the dice, he will then take damage. And if he's taken, after the damage is assigned, if he's taken the full 3 damage, he will then come off the board. So the final thing we're going to talk about here is the Infinity Stones. So once Thanos has an Infinity Stone, he becomes more powerful. And so the way they have that in the game is when he collects one, so we got the blue stone here, you will put it on the glove or the gauntlet, and then you'll flip it over. And anytime you roll the blue die, there's going to be a different effect. So this time it will be add 1 damage to each of the active player's heroes with the least damage. So a lot of them have to deal with the most or the least. So if you had 10 heroes and all of them had 0 damage, they'd all take 1. If you had 10 heroes and all of them had 1 and 1 had 0, just the one with 0 would take 1. What do we have here? Green. Added 1 counter to each other Infinity Stone with the least counters. Haggis and I played that. That was we only had 1 stone left, and it had 4 counters already. So when we rolled green, that one got its final counter, and we lost the game. Remove 1 damage from all villains, which it takes a lot to damage a villain in this game, so that can be painful. Trigger the abilities of all villains not in a sector with Thanos. So if you roll yellow and roll the Thanos Gauntlet, each one could be triggered twice. And so each one's got a different ability. So that is the basic rundown of this game. So, like I said, you go over the different steps. You place your deployment token. You roll the 2 dice. Then you roll your power dice, and you're assigning them during this time. You can also use your tokens here. There are certain ones that allow you to re-roll for free, so I might do this. Oh, I don't like what I have here, so I'm going to re-roll. Maybe I don't need Cosmic. I'm going to re-roll these 2 to see what I can get. Then you apply the results, recruiting, dealing damage, you get bonus tokens, and then you resolve the hero's abilities. Because yeah, that's one thing I didn't mention as I was going through. Every time you deal a damage, so you did 1 to this villain, you would draw 1 bonus token, so you can get bonus tokens from that, which you can use on your turn, and you can get bonus tokens from certain abilities. And if at the end of the game it's deemed a tie, so the 10th hero is killed and the 7th villain is also killed on the same turn, it is considered a victory for the players. Trying to kill 7 heroes is the kind of the beginner, like the easy mode. You can up the difficulty by trying to kill 8, 9, or even all 10. You can also start by having 1 counter on every token to start off the game. I don't think off the bat you're going to need to do that, because the game is quite difficult at times. Depends on who you get out, but it's up to you. Once you've beaten it a few times, you want to up the challenge. That is the way you can increase the challenge in the game. I want to thank you again for coming to watch our video on Thanos Rising. Thanos Rising is made by USAopoly, and it is a Marvel licensed game, as you can see on the artwork. Everyone is their likeness on here. Really like the game. Possibly we'll do more of a review on it. This was more focusing on how to play the game and go over the different rules. Trying to get back into the teaching of rules here. I want to thank everybody for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe. We'd like to hear back from you. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are trying to be more active and get back into this. So thank you for watching Just a Bunch of Nerds. This is B More, signing off.